Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, karibu, feel at home. My name is Eva Mtali, and on this channel we talk about all things travel tips, travel hacks, and visa guides, right? So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the different US visa interview questions you're likely to be asked if you are applying for a B1B2 visa, or what is also known as the visitor or tourist visa. So this is gonna be part one. There's a part two of the same video. You can check it up here for the rest of the questions. So there's about 50 questions. Part one, I will answer about 20 to 25 of them, and in part two, I will answer the rest of the other 25. So I have put my questions on here, so once in a while you will see me looking down at my phone to get the questions and the answers. So for first-time applicants, getting a US visa is not something very easy, and it comes with a lot of panic, and especially after hearing all the horror stories from those who have been denied visas. So two visa hacks that I can give you right away is that you should try to stay positive and to control your nervousness. Number two, do not give away any unnecessary information that the visa interviewer has not asked you. Be very specific, be very strategic in how you answer your questions. And one of the easiest ways to cruise through the US consular interview is by going through the commonly asked questions when you present yourself at the US visa interview question, and then you try to answer them. And that's what we are going to do in this video. Generally, the US visa interview questions revolve around the response that you gave in your DS-160 form. That's the form that you filled all your biographical data and reasons why you want to visit the US. And by the time you are appearing for interview, the US consular has this information through the form that you submitted. So you want to make sure that you become as truthful as possible in answering the DS-160 form, because if you lie or put information that is false, you may forget when you are at interview, and the interviewer is basically trying to corroborate the information that you say and the one that you have put in the DS-160 form, as well as other information they may be privy to, for example, through your social media profiles. So to assist you in preparing for your US visit visa application at the US Embassy, these are some of the questions that you are likely to be asked, and I will also try to give you an answer that you can give. So number one question that most US visa interviewees will be asked is, why do you want to go to America? This is a very simple question, very straightforward, so keep it simple. For example, you can say, I want to attend my sister's wedding, or I want to tour the US and see what the country has in store, or I am attending the conference. Make sure to carry supporting documents, whatever information that you give. So for example, if you say you are attending a wedding, you better have a wedding invitation card. If you are attending a graduation, you better have a graduation invitation card, or at least information about whoever's graduation you are attending. If it's a conference, you want to have the registration confirmation letter from the conference and even confirmation of payment. So question number two, have you been to the US before? Very straightforward. No, this will probably be my first visit, or yes, most recently in 2021. So answer appropriately. Question number three, why now? So you can say, for example, this is my most available time as I will be on my annual leave from work, or you can say, I have been saving for this trip for the last 3 years and have now accumulated enough money for my trip, or the International Management Accountants Conference is held once in every 5 years, and the last time it was held, it was in 2016. I was underage, or I wasn't with my current employer, or I didn't have the money to attend, but I'm now able to attend. Question number four, how will you finance your trip? Answer accordingly. So for example, if you're self-financing your trip, say I will finance it myself. If it's your employer, say so. If it's your spouse, if it's your parent, answer accordingly. But be prepared to show proof of sufficient funds for your visa application in any of the following forms. It could be a 6-month bank statement. It could be 3 months pay slips. It could be your M-Pesa bank statement. It could be your PayPal income statement. If you're sponsoring yourself, if you are sponsored by somebody else like your parent or your employer or your spouse, make sure to carry their 6-month bank statement alongside yours, plus a letter confirming that they are going to be sponsoring your trip. Okay. Question number 5, what do you do for work, or where do you work? Remember to always carry supporting evidence for whatever kind of work that you do. So for example, if you run a jewelry business, you probably have a website, or you have an Instagram account to the same, or you have a business certification. If you're a teacher at Nairobi Primary, you want to have at least a letter from the head teacher. If you're a doctor at Aga Khan Hospital, you probably want to also have a letter from the hospital. So depending on your individual circumstance, make sure to carry things such as your business card or your letter of employment from your employer, business registration certificate if you're a business owner. You might also need a screenshot of your freelancing platform to show that maybe you're a freelancer and you have been making so much money, or you could also be having your personal website. So this question is basically geared at determining whether or not you intend to return back to your country of origin, and if there is enough motivation for you to do so. Question number 6, how long have you been working here? Again, very simple, just answer if it's 7 years, 5 years, 1 month. The consular wants to know how long you have been with your current employer or with the current job. How much is your salary? Again, if you are employed, this is a very simple question. I earn $2,000 a month, or I earn 50,000 shillings a month. As I've already mentioned before, you must have documents to support your claims in the form of either a 6-month bank statement, a certified bank slip, M-Pesa statement, PayPal income statements, or screenshots of your freelancing platforms. And make sure that whatever information you give here is matching the information you filled out in your DS 160 form. Sometimes the consular may ask you to show them your bank statement. Just show your bank statement. So remember, as I said, avoid giving unnecessary information. If they don't ask for something, you have no business giving it. And another frequently asked question for your B1B2 US visa interview is the show me your bank statement, where you must make sure you carry at least 6 months bank statement. And this is a mandatory requirement. Whether you are self-sponsored or your trip is sponsored by somebody else, you must have your own bank statement, unless of course you are underage. And then, so once the consular has looked at your bank statement, they could probably have seen some large deposits. So they would say, I see that a large amount of money has recently been deposited into your bank account. Why is that? So there are various reasons why you may have had a significantly large amount deposited in your bank account. Kindly explain. So for example, you can say, I received a performance bonus from my work in June, and that's what you see in the bank statement. Again, make sure for whatever money is in your bank account, or whatever money that has come into your bank account, you have documented evidence. So if it's a performance bonus from your workplace, for example, make sure you have a letter showing the same. Or for example, it could be a long-term debtor who finally paid a long overdue invoice. That's what you see in the bank statement. So make sure you carry documents to support your claims. And so like, for example, I would say you could carry an invoice or your bonus letter. So whatever claims that you make in terms of the monies in your account, you want to make sure you have documented evidence. Okay. How much is the total cost of your US trip? So the only reasonable way to answer this question is by having prepared in advance. So you want to sit down and calculate how much it would cost you, like a rough figure of how much your US trip will cost. And I suggest that you map out your entire US itinerary right from your home country, assign costs by activity. So once you have a rough idea of what activities you want to engage in and when, then you just add up a budget for like meals and drinks and local transport, as well as other costs such as your return air tickets, your visa fees, and the rest. So you could prepare a simple like Excel printout of this cost per line and carry them with you to the interview. So I'm assuming that you've already done this preliminary budget of how much your trip will cost. So you may say, for example, my estimated cost inclusive of meals and transport is $70 a day, and my total expenditure is $2,100 for the entire 10-day trip. So it really depends on you, but just make sure that you have like sort of like an Excel sheet. It just shows how organized you are and that you have actually thought out your trip in its entirety. Next question, how many brothers or sisters do you have? Just tell the truth and make sure to have their information such as their age, their employment details, marital status, etc., just in case they ask you. So you can say, I am the only child, or I have 3 sisters and 2 brothers. So answer accordingly. Next question, do you have any relatives in the US? Answer it as it applies to you. So similar to the question on your brothers and sisters, have their basic information such as their age, employment details, marital status, addresses, immigration status, just in case you're asked for it. So you'll simply answer yes, I do, or no, I don't. If you don't know, say you don't know. I would focus only on my immediate family, as it's difficult to know, for example, your grandmother's cousin's address in the US, for example. So I would suggest that you focus like on your brothers, your sisters, your dad, your mom, like just the close relatives. Next question, who will you be traveling with to the US? Make sure to have some basic information about the people you will be traveling with to the US if you're not attending the US visa interview together. So you can say, I'll be traveling by myself if you're traveling alone, or I'll be traveling with 2 of my colleagues if let's say it's a work trip, or I will be traveling with my son, my daughter, my husband, my wife, my cousin, my sister. So make sure to have their basic information, especially if you're not together at the interview. What places in the US do you plan to visit? The only reasonable way to answer this question is by having prepared in advance, unless of course you are very good with your history and with your geography and you can think of a place at your feet. I suggest you map out your US itinerary and do your homework on must-see attractions of the various destination states. How long do you intend to stay in the US? Again, very simple, 10 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, 1 month. Make sure your answer matches the information that you gave in your DS-160 form that you submitted electronically. What do you know about America? This question might seem redundant, but that's just one way of checking if you did your homework before the consular interview. So prepare at least 3 or 4 fun and interesting facts about the US or things that you know about the US. So for example, my top 5 that I use all the time is that the US flag was designed by a high school student named Robert Heft in 1959. Another fun fact is that 100 acres of pizza are served in the US every day. The US uses 18% of the world's total energy. The current president is Mark Zuckerberg is from America. So just get some nice fun fact that shows you've actually made effort to learn about the country you intend to visit. I see you are highly qualified. Do you have plans of working in the US if you get a nice job? Polite reminder. The US B1B2 visa is a visit visa. It's not a work visa. So there's only one answer to this question. No, I don't. And for example, they ask you why, you may say, I have a job that I love, and make sure you have a letter from your employer which states the details of your salary, how long you've held your current position, and the number of approved leave days for this particular trip. Or you can say, I love it here in Kenya and I have made too many investments to afford to walk away from it all. My family is also here and I wouldn't want to leave my spouse alone or my kids unattended to. That is if you have a family. Or you can also say, besides, as it is evident from my passport, I like to travel and would not want to ruin my future travels by working on a tourist visa, right? So make sure you have documentary evidence of strong ties you already have in your home country. So if you're talking about investment, make sure to have, for example, a title deed. Make sure to have something like a car logbook and the like. Okay. You could also have like your letter of employment, your marriage certificate, your kids' birth certificate. So just anything to show that you have ties to your home country. Have you already booked your air tickets to the US? No, I haven't, although I already have tentative dates that I'm looking at. As soon as I get the visa, I will book the ticket. So you do not need to book an air ticket before you get a visa, because you're not guaranteed to get your visa, and most of the cheaper airline tickets are very expensive to change, and sometimes if you cancel them, then they will not give you anything back. So only book your ticket once you have your visa stamped on your passport. Okay. Have you visited other countries before? Answer this question truthfully. It's the US, baby. Those guys know everything. And instead of lying, just take a bus to, I don't know, the nearest country to you if you feel that it's important to you to have traveled to another country, right? What conference or workshop is this you're attending? Yeah, it's very simple. I'm attending the annual Management Accountants Conference, or it is the annual World Youth Forum. So just answer accordingly and make sure you have an invitation letter and confirmation of attendance from the conference or workshop that you are visiting. Okay, why must you attend it? So you can say, for example, by attending this workshop or conference, I get to meet new partners and grow my business. Or you can say, attending this conference will not only augment my technical engineering or accounting or whatever skill it is, knowledge, but also take my current organization through knowledge transfer. So just answer accordingly. Why is your company sending you? Why did the company choose you and not your other colleagues? So you can say, for example, I believe it's due to my job's position, requirements, and also that it was a better fit for the conference workshop's objectives. So it's very, very simple. Where will you be residing in the United States? So for example, you might say, if let's say you're staying at a hotel, you can say, I'll be staying at the Marriott Napa Valley Hotel and Spa, or you can say, I'll be staying at my brother's house. So if that's what you had answered, be prepared with the home address. So for example, they might tell you, you mentioned that your brother works at blah, blah, blah. So what will you be doing while he's at work? So this question is mostly important if you mentioned you'll be staying with your relative or your brother or your sister. So they could ask you, you have mentioned that your brother works at, I don't know, Amazon. So what will you be doing when they go to work? So you can answer and say, my brother has taken 5 days off on the week that I arrive. In the preceding days, when he goes back to work, I have planned to go on some solo day trips from New York City so as to maximize my 10-day vacation in the US. Do not even lie to yourself and say that my brother will take like 1 month off. It doesn't happen in the US. Yeah. What do you intend to do should your visa application be rejected? So you can answer, for example, depends on why my application is rejected. If it is something about my profile that I can improve on and within my intended travel dates, then I will improve on them and submit a new application. That is assuming you intend to reapply. Alternatively, you can answer that actually the US happens to be just one of the 4 international destinations on my 2021 travel bucket list. So should my visa application be denied, I will reschedule my other trips accordingly. Well, guys, that's it for today in terms of the questions you're likely to ask in a US B1B2 tourist visit visa interview. Make sure to check the next video. I'm going to answer the remaining 25 questions. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button below. And once you have done so, make sure to hit the notification bell as well so that every single time I shoot a new video, you will be the first person to know. Thank you for staying up to the very end, and I look forward to meeting you on the next one. Bye bye.